The National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, in conjunction with Westminster Foundation for Democracy, held a one-day dialogue on inclusive practices of political parties in Nigeria. The inclusion of women, youths, persons with disabilities in Nigeria politics was the center of discourse as stakeholders state that political parties are critical to democratic governance. Mavis Ako has more.
The role of political parties in Nigeria has garnered critical stakeholders in Abuja, from the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies (NILT), Westminster Foundation for Democracy, and representatives from the 18 political parties across Nigeria. With focus on challenges and recommendations to strengthen political party performance, stakeholders harps on women, youth, persons living with disabilities inclusion during a one-day dialogue on inclusive practice of political parties in Nigeria.
For us to have higher representation, we need to be involved. Many of us register as members of a party and became very passive and dormant in those parties. We are not active, we do not pay membership dues, we do not take on or volunteer to take any responsibility within the party. But when it comes to election, you want to throw your weight, you want to contest. For women, persons with disability, and youth, let's contest election into the party structures, because it is from there you have delegates, and also your work, your value, your usefulness will be seen by party leaders.
And if the bulk of the population is made up of young people, and you can even see from the results, the reports of INEC after the pre-registration, that almost, I think, more than 70-something% of the registered voters were made up of women and youth. So, which means we have to deliberately see how we bring the youth and women into the center of their activities so that they can take their rightful place in the scheme of things.
Representatives of political parties argue with divergent view on alleged negligence of INEC to the electoral process.
If you now have 18 political parties that will elect 9 membership in the ESCO with 1 woman, meanwhile the rule says 3, how do you go about that? So there are issues, and I think most of them are cultural, some of them are social, behavioral. And unfortunately, INEC is also not helping matter. They ideally should have been the regulators of political parties. Who should insist? When are you supposed to have your NEC meeting? Have you had a NEC meeting? When are you supposed to do this? Have you done it? All those things that are contained in your documents, are you implementing them? Efforts have been made in the past where there were conscious, deliberate action to have pairing system where for every position you have, if the position A is going for the male gender, the other one should go for the female.
What room INEC sat and agreed that presidential election should come first in Nigeria? And what was the logic behind that? And because of hive mentality, I want to suggest tonight, and we'll be pushing this until 2027, God keeping us alive, that INEC should disable itself by restructuring their timetable for election.
Political parties are critical to democratic governance, linking citizens and government, and acting as a platform for citizens to influence governance. Hence a call on all political parties to take intentional steps to make an inclusive system in Nigeria. From the nation's capital, Mavis Ako, KAFTAN TV News.